Okay, well, hey, we are gonna get started. I think we're missing a couple dogs, but hopefully they'll kind of come in. So let's kind of talk about this young lady before we dive in. We'll talk about our difficulty of getting the dog to down. In dog training, one of the frustrations we have a lot of times is we're always kind of fighting this battle against genetics and the dog's temperament. So the dog is a little bit unsure here. She already mentioned it when she came in. The dog's just a little bit scared where, you know, this dog here, he's kind of like, no biggie. And we have this little one over here that has tons of energy. So the temperament of the dog really sometimes reflects how easy it is to train the dog. This is why the very first class when we talked about it's really more important that your dog does better at home than they do here, because when here we're kind of in a nervous environment, a hectic environment. So I want you guys to get the knowledge more than your dog do really good here. So one of the difficulties she is having is she just couldn't get the dog to go underneath the legs, which kind of makes sense. Going underneath the leg is kind of intrusive to the dog. Like, it's almost like if you're not a huggy person, somebody come up and say, oh, I want to give you a hug. Well, the moment they come towards you, putting their arms out, what do you automatically do? You're like, hey, back off, I don't want that hug. That's kind of what we see here. So to go underneath the legs, it's a little bit difficult on the dog's temperament. Howdy. So do you want to sing a song or tell a joke? Do what? Nice, I like it.
He wasn't too happy about it.
I can imagine. That's kind of funny. Do what? Yeah, right. I'll let you off the hook this time. I always have this ongoing joke. If you're late, you either get to sing a song or tell a joke. So, all right. So let's go back to this again. So with the dog running, according to that clock there. With the dog going underneath the leg, it's kind of difficult. The dog's like a little unsure. So I'd probably try to stick at home, get a broomstick or get a chair that has like those metal chairs have like lower leg on them. Try it with that. If we cannot get the dog to, the dog just will not down going underneath something, then sometimes we have to do what's called free shaping or capturing. It's a very long process. So let's say when she's laying on her bed, the dog jumps up on the bed. And she knows when the dog jumps up on the bed, the dog lays down next to her, right? So if I was in that situation, the moment the dog jumps up on the bed, I would give it a marker word to tell the dog that's what I want. Or if she was to use a clicker, that'd be a great time to click the behavior. So click, the dog lays down, we feed the dog. Okay, and then we kind of ignore the dog. Next day, maybe the dog does it. The dog jumps up there, lays down, click, we reward the dog. Hi, guys. I'm not going to make them tell a joke because they have a shepherd. So does that kind of make sense?
It just takes longer.
It does take, because basically you're doing one repetition a day. Yeah. Imagine going to the gym and you only do one rep and then you go home. Yeah. It's going to take you forever to build up that muscle. Okay, but it's a way of teaching the behavior. If the dog can't go, if you can't figure out a way to think outside the box for the dog to lay down on their own, and we don't want to force the animal. A lot of people will say, okay, well, I want to take and I want to push the animal in that situation. I never encourage people to push the animal or make the animal do something, because what happens is a lot of times the animal then rejects it. So if I was to walk up to her and she's not a huggy person, and I said, give me a hug, and I grabbed her and hugged her, and then I did that 3 times, the moment I said, give me a hug, what would she do? She'd be out of there. She'd be running away, right? So if I tell my dog to down and I push on my dog and I do that 3 or 4 times, the moment I say down, what is my dog going to naturally do? He's going to say, I'm out of here. I don't want to do that. Okay, so we never want to force the dog. But what I'm kind of referring to is basically we call it freeze shaping, where the dog offers a behavior, we try to capture it by marking it and rewarding it, and then the dog says, wait a minute, hopefully over time, when mom says down, I do this and I get a reward. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. Yeah. Yes.
Are we going to work at the word and align it with the movement?
That's a really good question. Okay, so let's talk about that in just a moment. It's a really good question. All right, so last week, let's go over what we did last week, and then I'm going to jump into her question real quick. So last week we worked on 4 different things. What did we work on? Engagement. Okay, somebody give me an overview of what engagement is.
Have your dog's full attention.
Attention, okay, that's one thing. What else comes to mind? State of mind, that's it. That's exactly what I'm looking for. I want my dog to be in the right mindset, the right mood. I want my dog to say, oh man, I'm ready to go work out. I have a key word for my dog that activates my dog. When I say game on, my dog goes in this barking fit, like he just aggressively barks at me, not that he's gonna eat me, but he's like, all right, Dad, I'm gonna show you my power, okay? And from there, then I go into obedience. And what I did is I cued him and I said, okay, when you show me your power, I'm gonna reward you. Now, when I know my dog's mind frame is ready to work, now I'm ready to work for him. But if I come out to my field or I bring him in here and he's just kind of lollygagging or he's distracted, it's not a good time for me to train. I need to make sure his mindset is ready to go. Okay, good call. Okay, what else did we work on? Okay, worked on sit, teaching dogs how to put their butt down. Pretty self-explanatory. And then we worked on two other things. Down, okay. Something else that's really important that we worked on.
Free.
Free, all right. Somebody give me an overview what free means.
We're done.
We're done, okay. The release from the behavior basically marks to the dog that, hey, you're able to get out of that last behavior I told you, or you're able just to go be a dog again. A way I explain it to people is kind of like taking a verbal leash off the dog and saying, hey, now you can go be a dog again, okay? So give me your report card. How did we do? I know we're kind of talking to this young lady about the down. She had some difficulty, but for those who weren't here, tell me how you did.
She did pretty good.
Pretty good, okay.
Her attention is just momentary. You bring in, you say the sit, you say, reward, let's have the reward. You give me lots of it. And she sits and she'll immediately back up and jump and waiting for the next treat.
She goes down, but she stays long enough to eat and then she's done.
Good, okay, I kind of expect that, okay. We'll talk about that in just a minute, then we'll again address her question too. Anybody else have success, difficulties, or do you need to go over it? Yes.
I got the dog to come closer to me because of that strategy.
Nice, okay.
We're going sitting. I just have to see if it works in other situations.
Okay, so you got the dog to get closer to you, is that what you said?
In other words, if the dog's in there and I say sit, well, I'm not sure of things. I was using the treat just like you showed.
Okay.
The dog would come up to me and then sit.
Okay.
What is the prompt that I should be giving the dog to get to me? Just his name?
So you're right. So we haven't really worked on recall yet. If my dog was a little ways away from me, I'd probably tell my dog to come, call my dog to me. My dog comes to me, then I'd ask him to sit. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's a good question. So if you want to teach your dog to sit from a distance from you, okay, let's say your dog's just hanging out and you want to ask the dog to sit and you tell the dog to sit, it sits. You then go reward the dog where he sat. If you want the dog to sit close to you, then you either call the dog to you or you need to actually teach a secondary command, like a front command where the dog comes close to you and sit. But right now, if wherever your dog's at, if you tell the dog to sit, technically the dog's butt should just go down to wherever the dog's at. So you're not really teaching the action of coming close to you. We just taught the action of sitting. Now, what we did work on yet last week is when you lure the dog into the sit, the dog not rocking back and sitting 3 feet back from you, which is a pretty common problem. But once again, these are your dogs. If you're happy with where the dog is sitting, if you're okay with the dog rocking back and it sits 2 feet from you and you're okay, I'm okay with it. My job is to show you the best, okay? Okay, anything else before I address these two young ladies' questions? Okay, well, I'm guessing that you guys did good, right? Okay, I want you guys to have success. It's really important to me. So, first of all, this young lady asked the question, when do we put a cue to a behavior? When do we put a command to a behavior? This is a very difficult question for me to answer for everybody's dog because everybody's dog may be one, at a different age, okay? 2, a different maturity, and 3, maybe the command maybe isn't really clear. In other words, maybe clear means if I tell my dog to down and he kind of go down slowly, or maybe he doesn't down all the way, I didn't properly teach the command to him or to teach the behavior. I should not put a cue to it until the dog is offering me the correct behavior, the correct way I want. Either I want it quickly, I want it a certain way, I want his body to be a certain way. In my personal dog, there's two things right now I'm working on with the down. One, I want him to down a particular way. I want his body to go backwards and into a down. And the secondary part of that is I want him to drop his head. In other words, I want his whole head on the ground. For me, it's important. For you, it's not going to be that important. So sometimes I'll break it up. Sometimes I'll reward him just for downing correctly. And then sometimes I'll give him another cue for putting his head all the way down. But that's how I want it. So if you, let's say you do 10 lures. You lure your dog down 10 times. And out of 10, maybe 7 or 8 times, the dog offered it the way you wanted it. In other words, you're really happy with the way he did it. Then at that time, I would say maybe it's time for a cue. But if she lures the dog 10 times, and out of 10 times the dog only does it twice, it's not time to put a cue to it, because then it's not clear to the dog's head. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I was looking at him, and when his butt went down, at that point I thought that might be a good time to
Okay.
use the word down.
Are we talking about the sit or down?
Sit.
Okay, yeah. No, by all means. So if you like the speed that the butt goes down, and you like how the dog is sitting, by all means. However, some dogs, when you ask the dog to sit, the dog will kind of just put a leg out. They're kind of splay out. To me, that is not a correct sit. I want the dog to be square. I want the dog to be to sit down with his feet, tight in. But if you're happy with how the dog is sitting, then by all means put a cue to that. Does that make sense? Okay, good. This young lady had a question is, once she tells the dog to down, the dog hops right back up again. I kind of expect it for all the dogs, but especially for such a young puppy. You got to imagine, the puppy's mind is like a little Ferrari engine, where an older dog is maybe like a VW, right? It's like, okay, but his little mind is going 100 miles an hour. This is one of the things that we are actually going to work on in week 3, is teaching the dog to try to be a little stationary. But one of the things you can start doing that we're going to do in week 3 is when the dog downs, down, feed, like keep dropping food repetitively, and then drop piece of food free. While the dog is eating that last piece of food, while the dog is eating, release the dog, because you know what's going to happen. The moment the dog's done eating food, it's going to jump up, right? So basically, we're releasing the dog on a verbal cue before the dog has an opportunity to jump up on their own. Does that make sense? Okay.
So is that like the same thing as using the word stay?
Okay, so if she was to tell her dog stay, the dog would have no meaning. Stay means nothing to the dog. So by feeding the dog, she's just teaching the dog to be more stationary instead of hopping up out of the behavior itself. Now we're just basically, we're still using the food as a lure to keep the dog down there. But then once the dog's eating the last piece of food, as the dog's eating it, we're giving him the cue that's okay to get up, because we know the dog's going to get up anyway. So over time, if we do this correctly, the dog should wait for our cue to release before they jump up. But right now, the dog doesn't know better. So if the dog says, wait a minute, when mom and dad say free, I can get up, then if they do this over months and maybe a year's time, the dog says, okay, if I remain in a down, I'm going to keep getting fed, but until I hear that word free, then that means I can get up.
That's almost like saying the word stay.
It is. It is. And technically, they could actually use the word stay if they wanted to. Every time they feed the dog, they can use stay. I personally don't use the word stay, which we're going to talk about next week, but we'll go over that next week. Okay? All right, any other questions on what we covered last week before we move on?
She engages just fine inside. Outside is all over the place.
All over the place. How old is she?
18 months.
18 months. Okay, so it's pretty common. In fact, if I hear anything more than anything else, my dog does better at home than it does here. That's what I get all the time. And I could say the same thing about my dog. My dog rocks when he's in the garage at home. And when he's outside the home, sometimes my dog gives me the bird. It literally gives me the bird. Says, hey, I'm going to go do something else, okay? So one of the things that I really encourage you to do is when you take her outside your home, let's say, let me ask you this. Where do you take her? Where do you like to take her? Like, do you take her for walks around your neighborhood? Do you take her to stores, or where are you normally taking her?
We have 4 acres, so I'm walking around our...
Okay, so one of the things I encourage you to do is stop stop taking her on walks for a little while. So let's say, do you have a porch? Okay, deck, okay. So if I was in your situation, I'd start with a little play engagement inside the home, and then I would go on the porch. I would do the same thing for 30 seconds, then I'd go back inside. A couple hours later, I'd go on the porch. Boom, do a little play, do a little engagement, boom, go back inside. Repeat this maybe for a couple days, and then once I see that on the porch she's doing fine, then I'd take her down to the porch and do it in the yard. Okay, then go back inside. Do it in the yard, go back inside, do it in the yard, and then slowly start building on that. But it's very, very common. And the reason our dogs do better inside our home environment than outside of our home environment, our home environment is kind of a stale environment to them. It's like a neutral environment, like, oh, I'm here all day long. So any stimulant, of course, they're gonna like react really well to because they're kind of bored. But the moment you bring them outside of that stimulus area, now there's all these other stimulus. In a way, it's kind of like bringing a kid to Disneyland and asking them to do a math test, right? There's no way they'd be able to. They'd be everywhere. Make sense? Okay. And the other thing you can also change is let's say values. So let's say inside the house you can get away with kibble. Like, you know, you can use kibble. She does really fine with kibble. When you go outside your house, use something high value: cheese, hot dogs, chicken, steak, whatever it is. So you can change the value of reward, which sometimes makes a difference also. Okay?
How do you quell a serious hunting instinct? We have lots of gophers and moles, and she just goes crazy.
Yeah, that is a hard. So that's a hard thing to work on, especially if she has freedom and she gets enjoyment out of it. Imagine how excited you would be if I told you you're going to win $1 million tomorrow, right? So every time she walks out the door, hey, where's that $1 million? They must be in that hole over there. They must be in that hole over there. If you really want to focus on it, then you should eliminate for the next 6 months, a year, never let her go see it again. Okay, and then kind of build on that a little bit, but it's definitely a hard thing to work on. Okay, anything else before we move on? Okay, so tonight we are going to work on 3 different things. We're going to work on attention. We're going to teach your dog how to look at your face. We're going to work on leave it, and we're going to work on take it. Okay, so let's talk about attention first. Can anybody tell me what comes to mind when I say what's the difference between attention and engagement? Any ideas between attention and engagement?
Eye contact.
Eye contact, okay. Okay, yeah, you're absolutely correct. That's correct. So attention is going to be a behavior that we're going to teach your dog. We're going to teach your dog how to look at your face. However, I don't go to my dog necessarily and say engage. Okay, engagement is basically a frame of mind. Engagement is like this whole way a buddy of mine says, a belief system. A belief system that's established through their whole life. Like, all right, I want to play with you. I want to be with you. That's engagement. Attention is something that we are going to teach your dogs to do. So I'm going to use my friend Christina here. Christina, will you grab Rosemary? Jolene, sorry, the Rottweiler. So Christina's going to grab our stuffed up dog here for a moment. Okay, face it that way, please. Oh, that's right, you're right. Great. So Christine's got Jolie here. And Jolie's a puppy, and Jolie's kind of everywhere, right? So Jolie's kind of looking at that dog over there, that dog over there. What's the first thing that Christine's going to do? Hey, your dog got away. I hope it doesn't tap at Jolie. She's had a rough life. Okay, so let's say Jolie's dog is kind of everywhere. Or Christina's dog is everywhere. What's the first thing she's going to do? Nope, she's going to start with the little engagement. She's going to make sure the dog is primed, ready to go, ready to learn. That if you're from Ashland, the dog's chakra is open, okay? Ready for input. Because if the dog's looking everywhere, obviously the dog's not going to want to focus on her, okay? So let's say the dog is engaged, ready to learn. What Christina's going to do is she's going to pull out a handful of food. She's going to take a piece of food, show it to the dog. She's going to bring it up to her face, and then she's going to feed. Now, she's going to do that a couple times. Watch what she does when she brings that to her face. Watch where she brings it. Okay? Can you see that okay? Okay? So what she's doing is she's making sure she doesn't block her face. Because if she does like this, what is the dog looking at? Her hand or the face? Yep, only the hand. We want the dog to actually look at the face, okay? The other thing you want to do when you do this is don't always do it out of one hand. Mix it up so it can be the right or left. Right or left, okay? The other thing she doesn't want to do is she doesn't want to bring it up to her face and then hold it up there for a long period of time. If she holds it up there too long and the dog looks away, we kind of defeat the purpose, right? What we're doing is we're teaching the dog the muscle memory of take their nose, look up at her face, and they get rewarded. Up the face, and they get rewarded. Okay? Any questions on that? Okay, so the other thing you don't want to do is you don't want to tell your dog to sit. Now, if your dog offers to sit, if your dog just naturally sits when you do this, that's perfectly fine, but don't tell your dog to sit or down. We don't want to compound behaviors. We want to work on one thing at a time. Okay? So here's what we're going to do. I'd like you to do at least 3-4 sets of these. A set can be, 10 pieces of food, 15 pieces, however many times you want to do it, but I want you to do at least 3 sets. In between each set, release your dog, then do it again, release your dog, do it again, and then we'll show you the next step, okay? And we'll come along and help you.
And each set you start with engagement?
If your dog needs it, okay? If your dog's already focused on you and says, hey, I'm ready to learn, then you don't need engagement. If your dog's kind of everywhere, then maybe do a little engagement, a little play before you start this. If it's easier, you can stay seating if it's easier, but if it's easier, you can stand. It's up to you. Good job. Okay, too long. Dad, you need to do that 10 times quicker. Yep, you need to do it 10 times quicker. Yep, the moment your hand goes up, the moment she follows, feed right away. Okay, try not to ask her to sit though, if possible. Feed. Good job. Feed. Good. Sorry, I distracted him. Good. So that was too long. The moment the hand goes up, come back down and feed right away. Okay. The moment she looks at you, follows your face, or follows your hand. Feed. Good job. So the best thing to do, if she jumps up on you, don't say down, don't move, just ignore it. Okay. Because by you moving, it's getting a reaction. Now the dog wants you to do it. It thinks, okay, you're a cash machine. Watch out, dog girl. You're a cash machine. If I jump on you, you're going to move away, and the dog likes that. So just ignore it. Pretty soon the dog's going to realize, oh, if I don't jump on you, there's a reward. However, let's say the dog jumps on you and then jumps off, but then you think the dog was going to jump on you and doesn't, reward it for it. Just like when you have kids. If you come home and your kids clean the entire house, would you say, hey, way to go, or do you want to reward them? So it's easier to reward for good behaviors than it is try to fix bad behaviors. Okay? Keep trying. All right. How many sets have you done?
How many?
How many sets?
10.
10, all right. You done 10 sets or 10 pieces of food?
10 pieces.
Okay, let's do 2 more sets. Good job. So if you, there you go, you read my mind. You saw what happened. Good job. Okay, I want to drop the food. I want to drop the food. Yeah, because what's happening is now every time he gets rewarded, now he's hunting, right? Just hand him the food. Nice. Why were you dropping? Does he take your fingers off or?
Oh no, basically so he doesn't jump.
Okay, cool.
Works for me.
Good job.
That's good. Looking.
Nice. Good job. Okay, when you guys are done with your sets, go and sit back down and we'll move on. All right. Glad he waited to go outside. Yes, good job. Good. Awesome, good job. Glad he feels better. Okay, now let's talk about the next step. Can you use your again? Here, let's get rid of Jolie for a minute. Okay, so our next step is going to be to get the dog to look at the face without necessarily the hand. So Christine and I are going to do it this way a little bit. That way, just watch Christine, not necessarily me. So, what are we expecting the dog to do? If Christine shows me the food and she brings it up to the face, what am I really looking at? I mean, honestly, yes, the hand, right? Okay, which is fine. We're teaching them muscle memory for really just looking up in that general direction. So we expect the dog to follow the hand. What Christina's going to do is she's going to start off with a couple of these, from the nose to the face, just like this, just like you were doing. Okay? After 2 or 3 of those, what Christina's going to do is she's going to show me a piece of food, she's going to bring it up to her face, and then she's going to hold it away from her face. Now, what do you think I'm going to do? I'm going to stare at the food, right? Now, this is where a little patience comes in really handy. A lot of people want to jump the gun and try to help the dog right away. I want you guys to at least give the dog 30 seconds of seeing if the dog figures it out before you help the dog. So, on her dog, I'm staring at the hand. I'm staring at the hand. It's not getting me anywhere. And the moment I stop staring at the hand, I look at mom, boom, she feeds me. But she doesn't just feed me one. What should she do right there? Jackpot, you got it. Throw the dog a party. Why? Because it's the first time that the dog did the behavior that eventually we want them to do without any help. Okay? I think Christina's going to do that again. She's going to show me the food, bring it up, hold it out. And I stare at the food, and then my brain starts working. Wait a minute. Last time when I did this, boom, I got rewarded. Okay? Okay, and she's going to feed me a jackpot. Maybe one, there you go. Okay, then she's going to do it again. Holds it, and then I look at the face. Boom, I get it. So, jumping ahead, when you can do this, when you can hold your hand out, and the dog stares right at your face, now it's time to put a verbal cue to it. If the dog stares at the hand and then makes its way back to the face, you're doing good, but you're not ready for a cue yet. When the dog can just stare at the face right away, now the dog understands what gets a reward. Does that make sense? Now, let's say your dog does this. She holds it out, and I sit here for like 30 seconds to 45 seconds, and I never look at her face. At that time, she can make just a little noise. Oh, and then the moment I look at her face, she jackpots me. Okay? Then the next time, she doesn't make any cue. I sit here, stare, 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 stare. Wait a minute. Last time I did this, I got rewarded. Does that make sense? Okay, we'll slowly wean away from the hand, so the dog's not focused on the hand. The dog learns to look at the face, and then that's what gets as a reward. Now, let's say Christina's digging in her pocket for food, and the dog happens to stare at her face. Boom, she can reward right away. She doesn't have to go through the whole process. Obviously, the dog's figuring it out. This is really important. If you're inside your house, and your dog walks up to you and just starts staring at you, boom, feed him. It doesn't necessarily have to be a lesson. If I'm at my desk working, this is not my living, I have another job as my living. If I'm at my desk working and the dog comes up to me and says, hey dad, I want to play, I want to engage with you. A lot of times if I can, I immediately go do 20 seconds of something or 30 seconds. Or sometimes I'll just acknowledge, let's go get a toy. And we'll go get a toy together or play a little bit, and then I'll go back to work. I'm just letting him know that, hey, I know I've taught you this. This is really what I want you to do. I don't ignore it, because if I ignore it too long, then the dog's going to stop offering it. Does that make sense? Okay.
Any duration at this point?
I have a question about that. He does, a lot of staring at me, but he scratches me at the same time.
Ah, yes. So a lot of times the dog says, hey, I can get a reaction out of you if I paw you. Kind of like this young couple with a shepherd. The dog kept jumping on dad, and dad kept moving away from him. Dad tell him down or no, or dad was telling him something. The dog still was getting dad to do something, and the dog feeds off that. So if the dog comes up to you and starts scratching at us or starts pawing us, it's hard, but the best thing we can do is ignore them. Because by giving them a reaction, even a negative reaction, is still getting a reaction to them. However, let's say for 2 days the dog comes up and paws at her, tries to get her attention. She doesn't want to reward the dog, even if the dog's looking at her, still doesn't want to reward because that's not what we want from the dog. But let's say the 3rd day, the dog comes up and just sits at her and looks at her without pawing her, she immediately needs to reward. That way the dog says, oh, wait a minute, this is what you want me to do. Not come up to you and look at you and paw you. Does that make sense? Okay. All right, so let's see you guys try it. Start with a couple priming the dog from the face, or the nose to the face, and then after a couple times, provide a test for the dog, and let's see how your dogs do. Do what? Yeah, your verbal cue can be watch, look. Those are usually the pretty common ones. Okay. Good. Hold it a little bit further away from your face. Okay, really far out. Yeah, really, there you go. And wait. There, good, right there. It makes it really clear, because if it's only 6 inches from your face, it's kind of difficult. And just wait till she looks at you. There, good job, excellent. Now do it out the other hand the next couple times, okay? Yeah, don't get one-sided with your hand. Mix it up a lot. Nice. Good job. Hold it, wait, out further next time, okay? Yep, and one thing that'll help you is have a handful of treats. If you keep going in your bag, 1, it slows your learning curve down, and 2, your bag becomes this big lure. You want the dog to do it no matter if you have that bag on or not. Okay, hold your hand really far out. There you go, wait.
He doesn't stay looking at you very long. Well, you're going to reward him as soon as he looks anyway. You don't right now.
Nope, just ignore it for a minute. Just ignore it. Who feed him for that? Even though he didn't look at you, he self-corrected, right? He got off you without being told. Yes, he looked at you, right? Yeah. The moment his eyes there, good, excellent. Good job, jackpotting him. You did it the right time. Not yet. Yes, good job. Now next time, do it out the other hand. So don't do it only out of one side all the time. She's all kind of fun. She's down to my level. Okay, be careful helping too much over there. Let the dog try to figure it out if you can. Good, nicely done. Try this. Can you stand up for me? Okay. Try it again. Okay. Oh, please don't drop your leash, though. Good job. Okay. So, do a couple, like, from the nose to the face a couple times.
You mean
From his nose to your face. You just like that. Yep, feed. Good. And try not to move your face closer to his face. Yep. Yes, good. Show him the food and bring it to your face. And feed. Good. Okay, now take your hand, put it up to your face. Now hold it straight out really far. And wait. Don't help him, please. Please don't help him. Not yet. Not yet. Okay, wait. Oh, good job. You're right. You trust your brain. Your brain. He looked at your face, right?
Yeah.
Then even if it's it doesn't matter. Try not to help him quite yet. He'll do it. Yeah, good job. All right, keep it up. Good job. How's he doing?
It's interesting because his eyes go back and forth.
Back and forth? Okay.
So as soon as he kind of made me feel,
Good, excellent timing.
but he's ready to go into the.
Yeah, and it's hard. But the moment the dog looks at your face, reward him. And we'll talk about duration in a minute.
See what he now.
Okay, now feed him. So
Because
if he,
he's down.
yes, if he self-corrects, reward for that. Okay? Pretty soon he's gonna realize there's no value in jumping up, but if I sit there and stare at mom and not jump up on her, there's a value. Because you taught him there's a value in jumping up inadvertently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really hard in the same session for two people to work with a dog. And I think that's what I see the dog staring at you, but he's got the food. So maybe kind of trade off, either that or 1 week you work with the dog, 1 week he works with the dog. That'll help.
Finally got him looking at me.
Nice. How's he doing?
A glance counts, right?
A glance counts. Yeah, he's not going to stare for probably a couple weeks.
You know, when we don't have treats though, he stares.
Of course. Hold your hand further away this time. Like straight out. There you go. And wait. Don't help him yet. Not yet.
But I put the food behind my back when I did it, so you can't look at that.
Okay. He may not be to the point where you can really take the food away. So do a Tim, will you sit down, please? Okay, do a couple nose, from his nose to your face a couple times. Good, that was, okay. 2 things. That was way slow, and you blocked your face. So hold it almost to your cheek. Okay, to your cheek, and feed. Good, again. And have a handful of food, so you don't have to keep going in your bag.
He responded better to me, because every time he looked at me, he got a full handful of food. So.
Oh, you're jackpotting him. Way to go. Okay, feed. Good, again. Feed, good. Okay, one more time. Feed, good. Now take your hand and hold it straight out like an airplane. Ah, you. Yeah.
Grab a pad.
Okay, wait. It'll come. And maybe not.
He hears ambulances getting in. So hard.
Okay, keep trying. It's gonna take some work.
He responds to his name.
How's it going?
It's okay.
Is she getting it?
She got it a couple times.
Nice.
Yeah, she's really smart.
You definitely have to keep practicing.
Yes, remember she's very young, really immature. Okay, wait, hold the food out further. Like, yep, and higher, and further. Not that high, there you go. Good, it makes it more clear. So she did glance at you, right? You're there.
How do you miss it?
No, it's okay, there. Maybe, from here, maybe it looked like she was, but maybe she wasn't. Yeah, even a glance. Right now, if the dog just glances at you, feed her. Our goal is, yes, good job. A little timing went a long ways, good job. Okay, let's move forward. So as you see, this takes a lot of patience. Some dogs got it quicker, other dogs were like, yeah, don't quite understand this. It's gonna take some time. One of the questions that came up is, when do we start asking for duration? In other words, the dog looks at the food, looks at us, looks at the food, looks at us, looks at the food, looks at us. Right now, the moment the dog looks at us, we're rewarding for the dog. However, our goal is to ask for some duration. So I can't answer that for every dog. If it was my dog, and my dog was really clear, the moment I hold the food away, he looks at me right away, now I'm gonna add some duration. If he stares at the food and then he kind of looks at me, or he doesn't really look all the way, or it's not really quick, I'm not going to ask for duration. I want to make sure he understands hand, go out, look at dad. At that point, now I'm going to start asking him, can I use you for a minute? So if Christina and I were doing this, Christina would do it just basically a simple count. So she holds her hand out, I look at the hand, I look at her face, and she feeds right away. Okay? Now this time, holds the hand out, I look at the hand, look at the face, 1, 1,000, 2, and then she'd feed. And maybe she even jackpot me. For the first time, the first couple times you start asking for duration, maybe even jackpot it, okay? She holds the hand out again, I stare at her face.
1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, yes!
Boom, she jackpots me. However, now she holds her hand out, I look at her face, 1, 1,000, 2, and back to the food. She ignores me. She just ignores me, okay? Now I look at her face, 1, 1,000, 2, 1,000, 3, 1,000, boom, that she rewards me. So now what we're teaching the dog, it's not just a quick glance. It's staring at the face that gets your reward. Not just back and forth, back and forth. You actually have to stare at the face. However, in the dog's mind, they're like, oh, the reward's not gonna come. I gotta look at the reward again because I don't want to take a chance of missing it. It's not natural for a dog just to leave, in my opinion, it's not natural for a dog just to leave food alone. Why? Because if they're around other dogs, they would say, wait a minute, I gotta eat that quick. Because if I don't eat that quick, what's gonna happen? Somebody else is gonna eat it, exactly. Especially if you have other dogs around, okay? So the duration is just something that takes a little patience and takes some timing. Any questions on this? Okay, so this is something that you're gonna use, one, in healing when we get to week 4, but 2, it's kind of nice when you're in public. Let's say you're in a store and there's a dog that's going by and it's kind of a little out of control. There's 2 things you can do. One, you can hand them my business card and tell them that you really like my training. I gotta put my plug in there. But the other thing, you can ask your dog to look at you. So ask your dog to stare at you. Because if your dog's staring at you, most likely it's not going to be staring at the other dog and maybe causing issues. Because the first time, or the first thing that usually dogs do when they start, growling and barking at each other, communicating with each other, they start by staring at each other. So if you can nip the staring in a butt, you're halfway there to success around other dogs. Okay? All right, so we're going to move forward because we only got 15 minutes left. All right, we're going to talk about leave it and take it. So we're going to reverse thinking here for a moment. A lot of people, when they teach leave it, what they do is they punish the dog. They'll put food out in front of the dog, and the dog will go forward and they'll tell the dog, no, don't do that. Okay? Then the dog says, oh man, why'd I get in trouble? I thought you were handing me something, right? And then if the dog does leave it alone, a lot of times they reward the dog. But then the dog's like, wait a minute, why would I want to go for it? You just punished me for trying to go for it. So a lot of times in dog training, we're back chaining. In other words, we're thinking of training a little bit backwards. So instead of necessarily teaching the behavior we want to teach them, we teach them a sub-behavior in order to originally teach them the behavior we want. Here's kind of how it works. Ask yourself this. If you're in the backyard, or your dog's in the backyard, and it's barking at the other dog on the other side of the fence, and you open up the door and yell at the dog for barking, is that fair? Okay, why is it not fair? Do what again?
You're reinforcing your own negative response?
No, not quite, okay. Why is it not fair just to open up the door and just start yelling at the dog? Do what? You got it, okay? Ask yourself this. If you yell at the dog for barking, would you yell at the dog for wagging its tail? Would you yell at the dog for panting? Okay? If you're not willing to yell at your dog for panting and wagging its tail, then you shouldn't be yelling at your dog for barking. Why? Because it's just something naturally the dog does. So in order to teach the dog to stop barking, we actually teach it to bark. We teach the dog what we want them to do in order to stop doing it. We're not gonna go over that tonight, but it's called back chaining. So we first teach the opposite, and then we teach what we want them to do. So if we're gonna teach your dog how to leave things alone, what do you think we're first gonna teach your dog? You got it, okay? Teaching your dog is one of the contrary to my rule about putting a marker word to a behavior before you properly teach it, because obviously we don't have to teach your dog how to eat, right? Your dog already knows how to eat. So what you're gonna do in a moment is you're gonna take a handful of food, you're gonna do 3 sets, 10 pieces of food, 11, it doesn't matter, but basically your dog is gonna be in front of you, or you can be standing, sitting, doesn't matter. You're gonna hand the piece of dog of food and say, take it. Hand the piece of food, dog to the food, say take it. But don't do it too fast. Don't say take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. I want the dog to really clearly think, Mom said take it, okay? Makes sense? Okay, there's no magic to it. Let's stand up, let's try it. Or sit down, doesn't matter, whatever's easier for you. Hand the piece of dog to a piece of food, say take it. Good. Count to 1, 1,000. And then do it to none. Good job. Nope. Okay, so you have to hand the food to the dog. Very good. So make it really clear. Take it and then you hand it to him.
Oh, say take it first?
Yep, say take it and then just hand it to him.
Take it?
There you go, hand it to him. There you go, just like that.
Take it?
Good. Okay, no, try not to keep reaching your bag. Try to have a little handful. It'll make a big difference. In fact, put your bag on your bum. That'll make a big difference too. Because what happens is, the dog's gonna say, I'm not gonna offer the same behaviors because I don't see the bag. Okay? If the dog doesn't see the bag, but at any time reward could come, the dog will be more consistent. Okay? Good. Good. After you've done about 3 sets, please sit back down. If you want to see if your dog is understanding take it, then when the dog looks away, say take it and see if the dog's head turns right back around to you. If it does, reward it. Of course, now it's understanding what take it means.
Say that again, you move away.
So if I come up and your dog looks at me and staring at me, and you just say take it, and if your dog head pops around, then you know the dog is understanding what take it means. Okay. So let's jump forward and say your dog understands what take it is. It may not be really solidified, but I guarantee after a couple sessions it will be. Okay? Can you see for Christina? Christina and I are going to do this. I'm going to do it with one dog, and then we'll have everybody do it. So Christina's going to start with a couple take-its. I always kind of start like with everything, priming the dog a little bit. Okay? So she's going to hand me a piece of food. She's going to say take it.
Take it.
Good.
Take
She's going to do this 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times.
Take it. Take it.
Good. Okay, now what she's going to do is she's going to have a piece of food in her hand. Okay, she's going to hold her hand open just above my nose. Because I guarantee if you hold it down, I'm going to go for it. Okay? So she's going to hold it right there, and she's going to tell me to leave it.
Leave it.
And I'm going to go for it. I'm going to try to go for it. And when she does, she's going to just close her hand. Okay, she doesn't take her hand away. She just merely closes. It's called blocking. She's going to block me from it. When I stop bothering her hand, she's going to slowly open it. And I'm going to go for it again, probably. Okay? And then she's going to, when I stop going for it, she's going to open it again. Now, what we're looking for is a couple different things. 1, the dog to stop going for it. Or 2, maybe the dog just look away. Or maybe the dog looks at her. Okay? But we're looking for some sign that the dog is going to stop going for it. Stop focusing on it. Okay? Once the dog does that, I stop going for it, she immediately says take it and hands it to me.
Take it.
Good. It's really important. It's extremely important that she doesn't leave her she doesn't leave her hand right there and say take it and not hand it to me. Because ask yourself this, if you're walking down the street and there's something nasty on the ground and you tell your dog to leave it and your dog says, okay, I'll leave it alone, but then I know mom's going to say take it and I get to go for it. You want to make sure that you're handing it to the dog when you say take it. It's very clear. Leave it means I don't go for it. Take it means mom and dad are handing it to me. Okay? The other reason why this is important, if your dogs are horrible about stealing food, like mine are horrible at them. They're horrible. I want to make it really clear to my dog that unless I hand it to you and say take it, you shouldn't go for it. Does that make sense? Okay, I'm gonna. Can I use your dog real quick? Okay, we're going to do it with her dog real quick to give you a little demo because this can be a little confusing, and then I'll have you guys all do it. Christina, can you hold the dog, please?
We have next week, I think, we'll deal with that.
Yep, okay, come this way. That way everybody can see. Okay, so what she's going to start doing is she's going to start doing a couple take-its. Take it, hand it to him.
Take it.
Good, come a little closer to him, please. Thank you.
Take it.
Good, slow down just a little bit on the take it.
Take it.
There, like that, good. Okay, one more.
Take it.
Good. Now, put a piece of food in the palm of your hand. Bring it down, say leave it.
Leave it.
And wait. Close your hand. Good. Slowly open it back up. Close it. Okay. Open it back. Oh, not yet. Okay, open it back up. Oh. Okay, so we're just ignoring this. So is it. Okay, open it back up. Ooh, say take it.
Take it.
Good. So even though it wasn't really clear, the dog did look at it, didn't go for it. Okay, do a couple more take-its. Good. Good. One more take it. Good. Do leave it right away. Okay, open your hand. Wait. There, take it. Now, even though it got distracted, we're still going to use that. Okay, take it. Good. Okay, now let's do a leave it. Open your hand again. Nope, close it. Okay, wait. Our goal for this dog is to get where it can leave it alone with the hand open. By blocking the dog, we're really eliminating. I want the dog to use its own brain. Okay. Say leave it. Oh, leave it. Okay, bring your hand up a little bit. Okay, wait. Open it again. There, take it. Good. Okay, I was happy with the fact that the dog stopped going for it. Okay, do it. Okay, now do a leave it. There, take it. Good, take another one. Another one. Yeah, super. Good. Okay, do another leave it. Nice. Oh. Okay, wait. There. Take it. Okay, so that's fine. The dog offered. I'm not going to go for it. I'm not going to look at it, leave it, or I'm not going to focus on it. I was really happy with that. So this is also teaching self-containment. Or sorry, not self-containment. It's also teaching self-control. That's what I'm looking for. Where the dog says, hey, just because it's present doesn't mean I need to keep going for it. Okay? Okay, let's see you guys do it. So start with a couple take-its, then introduce a leave it, and let's see how we do. Try to be a little bit patient when you do the leave it. Do you have your long line handy? Can you grab it, please? Thank you. Good job. Okay, so for him, when you do the leave it, you're going to have to hold it a little bit lower. If the dog physically can't get to it, it's not providing the dog an option or choices. Good, say leave it.
Leave it.
There, take it. Good. There you go. So, just a FYI, next week cut your cheese a little bit smaller. He's a very small stomach, and he's going to fill it quickly. Okay, do a couple take-its. There, take it. Good, so when you said leave it, he kind of backed off a little bit. I would be perfectly happy with that. Now do like 3 or 4 take-its. Don't do too many leave-its because pretty soon everything becomes a leave-it. Then the dog stops using their own brain.
Take it. Leave it. Take it. Good girl.
Good job. Let's reload. Let's do a couple together.
She's the smartest dog in the world.
Is she? I believe it.
She really is very smart.
Take it.
Okay. Okay, now say leave it. Okay, bring it down a little bit lower. Okay, wait. Okay, say take it, hand it to her. I'm not sure if she's doing take it or she's just offering the down. Does that make sense? Here, sit down on the ground. We'll find out. This will help. This will make it clear.
Take it.
Good. Mom, hold her back just a little. There you go. Okay.
Leave it. Leave it.
Wow. Okay, take it.
Take it.
I don't. Left alone pretty well. Have you guys worked on this before?
Well, we tell her like to when we give her food, we say stay, and then we put her food down, and then we say go for it, and then
She really likes
and she does the same thing with her toys.
Well, actually, so that's kind of bled over to this. It looks like she's offering it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that she's fairly.
That's it. Okay. Okay, too low. Okay, wait, it's too low. Keep it up a little bit. There you go. Open your hand. Now wait. Hold on. Bring your hand down just a little bit. See. Okay. Okay. Now open it back up. Yeah. Close it. Don't say leave it again. Just wait. Okay. Just wait. Okay. Slowly open it. There. Take it. Good. That was more clear. It's like she totally stopped going for it. Now, if she offers to sit her down, that's perfectly fine. But don't tell her to sit her down because when you're walking down the street and you want her to leave something alone, You don't want her to down. You don't want to mix it up where she gets confused about the two. Okay?
Should we try this with her toys?
Sure.
Take it. Take it. Leave it.
Way to go. Good job. Now make the temptation a little bit more. So when you do the
I
leave
did 3 of
it,
them already on there.
well, in other words, don't hold the food so far away from him. That makes sense?
Hard to trust our dog.
Well, okay, but if he
Take it.
goes for it, you just close it. You
Take
just block him
it.
from it.
Leave
Slow-
it.
Okay, wait. Okay, slow down.
Leave it.
Wait. Stop. That was way too fast. That was like, to me, that was like one take it. It'd be take it, 1,000,
it.
2. There.
Take it.
Okay, do a take it.
Take it.
Okay, wait. Now say take it.
Take
That's
it.
how you need, that's,
Leave it. Leave it.
okay, wait a minute. Just wait. And don't take your hand, don't move, don't take your hand out of the way. Otherwise, just leave it right
So
there.
he pushed it down.
Okay, I understand. There's a lot of dog.
Leave it.
Nope.
Leave it. Take.
Okay, so that time he was really good, but you kept moving your hand away. Here, watch this. Put a piece of food in your hand. Close your hand right in front of him. Okay, don't move your hand from there. Unless he hurts you, then you can move, okay? Tell him leave it.
Leave it.
Okay, and just wait. Slowly open your hand. There. Oh, okay. You moved your hand away again. It's okay. Because if you keep moving your hand away, you're gonna be like dancing with him. We just close the hand so he can't get to it. Okay, open it again. Say leave it.
Leave it.
Close.
Oh my god.
Oh, it's not clear. Be careful. Okay.
Take it.
Okay, hey, you guys did really well. I saw some dogs got it really quick. Some dogs, because of age and because of energy level, they kind of had some difficulty. One of the things I was telling my friends over here in the corner, not to pick on, they did really good. The dog was getting it. She kept moving her hand away. So she'd say leave it, and then she'd move her hand away. You don't want to move your hand away. You want to just close your hand. Because if you move your hand away, she's going to end up dancing, like going in circles, and the dog's just going to keep moving towards it. I want the dog to understand it, that the temptation does not move away. The temptation, the dog is rewarded when it backs off and doesn't go for it. Okay? Any questions on that? Yes?
Can I progress by pulling it under?
Yeah, so good. That's a really good question. So once a dog understands what leave it is and they're leave it alone, then you can start varying it. Like sometimes the food can be lower. You put it on the ground, put it on your leg. Really challenge yourself and challenge your dog. Because the more you do that, that one day when you're walking down the street and there's something nasty on the ground, you tell the dog to leave it, the dog's going to understand, oh, just because it's not in mom and dad's hand, it can be on the ground, it can be anywhere, I just leave it alone. If you have grandchildren or children, this helps a lot. If you teach your dog how to leave food alone, when family's over, when they put their plate down, this can really help a lot in different areas. Okay? Any questions before we move on?
We're pretty sure that when we're saying, leave it, she's just sitting and waiting for us to give it to her.
Yeah.
Or laying down. What's the way to deter that kind of...
That's kind of hard because you've already kind of established when you feed her to sit her down before she gets her food, right?
Right.
So now the moment she sees food, she knows, oh, and basically what you've established already a belief system already that's carrying over to this a little bit. What you might do is sit on the ground with her, get down to her level, okay? Have the food, kind of like what we were doing earlier, work on the leave it and take it almost down to her level. That way she can't down because she's already down. And she's understanding it's not about sitting and downing. It's not about downing away from the food. It's not about sitting away from the food. It's stopping to go for it. And I think once you have the food down to her level where she can't just down and get away from it, she's going to start having to really leave it alone. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes?
One of the things I do, I don't know if it's right, but before he eats, I have him sit and look at me and then
Sure.
say okay.
So I like that. I don't mind it. I'd probably use a different word than okay as your release command. Now I'd start using take it because you've already established take it. Plus I'll kind of bleed over because let's say you put their food down and your husband says, hey, do you want this? And you say okay, and the dog breaks and goes gets it. It's really our fault. Okay, but I would probably use take it. My dog does the same thing a little bit. I kick my dog out of the kitchen. I feed my dogs in my kitchen. I make my dogs go out of my kitchen. I don't make them sit her down. And the reason why I don't want my dog to sit her down is because I don't want them to break the sit her down. So if I put my dog in a down, let me back up a little bit. My dog loves to eat more than anything in the world. Take any of your dogs and probably times it by 10 and you'll have my dog. I kid you not. My dog I don't know how much he slobbers, but there will be a huge pile of slobber that you actually have to go clean up or you'll slip and fall on it, okay? And like the moment the food bucket makes it, I just start salivating, okay? It's that bad. So I'll kick him out of the kitchen. He can't come in the kitchen until basically he does two things. He's quiet and he's out of the kitchen. Once he does that, I release him, he comes in the kitchen and eats. However, I don't put him in a sit her down because if I put him in a sit her down, I know he's going to break it. I know it's going to be just too much for him. And if I do that 5 or 6 times in a week, because I feed him twice a day, and he breaks 5 or 6 sits, now what happened to my sit her down? Now the dog is not sitting her down incorrectly. So I just simply tell the dog out of the kitchen. That's how I do it. But if the sit her down works for you and it's consistent, then that's fine. But just be careful. Make sure you don't go put your food down and your dog break the sit to get to the food. Then now your dog is breaking the sit where you want the dog to stay stationary. Does that make sense? Okay. Yes.
Thank you. What you were saying, where you put the food on the ground, I guess, that they're supposed to pick it up again and tell them to take it.
Yeah, it's a good point. Very good point. So if you're working on leave it and take it, and you tell your dog to leave it, and you set the food, you're proofing the dog, you're setting it on the ground, and you want the dog to leave the food alone, don't say take it and let the dog go get it. Hand the dog the food and say take it. You want to make it really clear on that, okay? All right, we're going to go a few minutes over. Is that okay? Are you guys okay with that? Okay. So one of the things not on the list, we're going to talk about the recall really quick. So the recall is something that we screw up very quickly. The reason being is a lot of times we start asking the dog to come when we really haven't taught the dog to come. And usually happens is we're spoiled when the dogs are puppies. You guys raise your hand if you have your dog since a puppy. Okay. For those who have you noticed when your dog was a puppy, it followed you around everywhere? It did not leave your side, right? You could have said pickles and the dog would have probably come running. But there reaches a point where the dog starts to get maturity, or some maturity, the outside world becomes adventurous to them, and pretty soon now other things become more valued than we do. So the dog's in the backyard where before we could just open up the door, the dog would run to us. Now we open up the door and the dog says, hey, I want to go do my own thing. So then we try to start calling the dog. We say, come to the dog. And the dog doesn't come to us. And then we start calling the dog again. Dog doesn't come to us. Now we wiggle a can of cookies and the dog comes to us. And the moment we do that, now we just taught the dog, oh, I have to bribe you in order for you to come to me. And the reason why we had to do that is because we didn't teach the recall at the beginning. Okay, so we need to actually teach the dog how to come to us. So the easiest way is play a little game, which we'll play in a minute. I'm going to use the collie here in a minute, or the Aussie. I knew it wasn't a border collie. We're going to use the Aussie here in a moment just because I know it's going to make me look good. So one of the things that we do is we teach this to be a game. We want the dog to have a fun time. I want to call my dog and my dog run to me and say, oh, I know because you're a cash machine and the moment I get to you, I'm going to get this big reward. Not, oh, I'm going to come to you, you're going to put me in the crate, or I'm going to come to you, you're going to put me on leash, or I'm going to come to you and you're going to make me do something. Right now, I just want your dog to come to you and get rewarded. Not sit, not down, nothing. Just come to you and get rewarded, okay? So I'm going to have this young lady stand up for a minute. So one of the things we want to do when we do this is we don't want to put the dog in a failing situation. A failing situation would be her taking the leash off right now, letting the dog go, and trying to call the dog. I guarantee it'd probably run to one of your dogs and say, hey, I want to play with you. And then she'd try to call the dog wouldn't come to her, and now that's a failing situation. So Christina here, she has a long line. Long lines are really great when you're not in a controlled situation. In other words, a controlled situation would be your backyard, would be a fenced-in area with not a lot of distraction. We work the dog on a long line. That way we can control the situation. Do you want Anna to take your car? Okay. So what we're going to do here is we're going to play a little recall game here. So before we get into that, I want you to think about a concept really quick. If we have a rubber band and we stretch the rubber band, besides break, what does the rubber band want to do? You got it. Snap back to its original form, right? So we're going to teach the recall the same way. What we're going to do is we're going to have Christina back here with the dog. Can you come back here, ladies, a little bit? Okay? What mom's going to do is mom's going to come up. She's going to show, what's your dog's name? Josie. She's going to show Josie some food, and she's going to run backwards, and she's going to say, puppy, 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 puppy. Okay? And when she gets back here, Christina's going to let the dog go, and hopefully the dog's going to run to mom. The moment the dog gets to mom, mom's going to feed the dog. Okay? And then we're going to run the dog back. Okay? So, okay, hold her by the collar, please, Christina. Okay, hold on for a minute. Okay, come on, show the food. Come on, get close there. No, come on, right up there. There you go. Run back, say puppy, puppy, puppy. And let her go. Good job. All right. Okay, now we're going to try that again. Okay, she's going to hold her there. Come this way. Christina, if you can, just let the slack go this time so she can run more free. Okay, run back, say puppy, puppy, puppy. And let her go. Good job. Can anybody tell me why we're not saying come at this point? Good job. Yep. She doesn't know what it means yet. Let's say she's saying come, and the dog beelines it over to this dog. Well, now what we're teaching the puppy? It's got options. Okay? The other reason why we're being exuberant and why she's being really exciting is because I want your dogs to run to you. Who wants their dog just to meander to them? We want to, when we say come, for the dog to run to us, right? So if you start teaching it now at this age, you're going to be further along, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to reverse the row here. We're going to have Christina have some food. Can you ask Christina some of your food, please? Okay, Mom, you're going to hold his collar, or hold her collar for a minute. Okay, do you have food also?
Yeah, do you want me to get it?
Yes. Okay, so you're not going to worry about feeding her yet. You'll do it in a minute. Christina's going to show the dog the food. She's going to run back. Don't let her go until I tell you, okay, please? Say puppy, 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 and let her go. What's your long leg there? There, good. So the moment she feeds the dog, she holds a collar. Now, Mom, you're going to come up. Show her your food. Run away, say puppy, puppy, puppy. And she lets her go. Good job. Okay? So you can see this game can be really fun. Now what we're going to do is Mom's going to hold the collar again. Now we're going to jump forward and say they've been doing this for maybe a couple days or a couple sessions. Now when Mom says free, Christina's going to try to call. Okay? So run away. Yeah, I don't think she's going to go anywhere. Okay? Okay, say puppy, puppy. Okay, not yet, not yet. Okay, now you say free. Good job. So now the dog is being released on command to run to Mom. Okay? When you hear her say free, I want you to say puppy, 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 okay? Good job. Okay. So at this point, I would be comfortable with pairing a come command to it. Okay? That's why we... Good job. Okay. So, ready? Okay, run away. Okay. Now, when you say free, she's going to say come. Okay, say free. Free. Good job. Yeah. Now, when you hear her say free, you say come.
Free. Come. Come. Come.
Good job. All right. You guys did really good.
Good girl.
Okay, go and switch out your leash.
Good girl.
Okay, so you can see this game could be really effective. Yes, we're only working about 15 feet here, but do this in your yard. Do this inside your house. In fact, I like to do, if you have a large house or a lot of bedrooms, this is a fun game that you can play with your dog. By having somebody hold the dog and you go hide in another room, it really creates anticipation, like the dog really, really wants to find you. Now let's see, can I use one of you guys for a minute? Okay, who wants to do the dog?
Do I need any treats?
Yes, always need food.
You okay?
You big meanie. Holy crap, you should feel really guilty. No, I want to show them how to do it without. Okay? So, so let's say you want to work on this by yourself. You don't have a second. You don't have a second person to help you, okay? Do me a favor, can you put him on the long line, please?
Hey, puppy.
Okay, Dad, she's just gonna be your, it's fine. She's just gonna be your safety, okay? So what he's gonna do is he's gonna take about 3 or 4 treats. He's gonna drop them in one little pile in a minute, okay? And then when he drops the food, he's gonna run that way. And while he's going that way, he's gonna say puppy, puppy, puppy. Okay?
Drop it, run that way.
You got it. Okay, so drop the food right there and go that way. Say puppy, puppy, puppy.
Puppy, 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 puppy.
And feed her. Good job. Okay, drop a couple pieces right there. Okay, run this way.
Puppy, 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 puppy.
Good job. Okay, do it again.
Need some more treats.
Uh-oh, it's out of food.
So what did those treats, the first time you threw them were established, what did they?
I'll explain that. It's a good question. I'll explain that in just 1 second. Okay, let's do it again.
Puppy, 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 puppy.
Good job. Super. Okay. Okay, this time I want to say, come, 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 come. Will you run away? Okay, drop the food. Come, 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 come.
Come, 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 come.
All right, that's what we wanted. One more time.
Come, 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 come.
That's what I wanted. All right. Good job. Just don't take your dog back. Okay, so the reason why we're dropping the food, it's basically the same, almost does the same thing about having somebody hold the dog. So let's say you want to work on this by yourself. You don't have anybody to hold the dog, or hey, you just want to work on this by yourself. You can drop the handful of food. So the food basically just keeps the dog there to allow you to get away from the dog a little bit. And the moment you're calling the dog, or the moment you're going away, you're calling the dog. That way the dog's like, oh man, I hear mom and dad leaving. I want to get this food down. A lot of times the dog is going to finish eating what they're doing. Finish eating the little pile there before they come running to us. So that giving them the pile there allows us to get a distance away from the dog. Yes?
Question, I've been using the word fear, is that okay?
Yeah, but your verbiage doesn't matter. I had a client, I don't know if I told you this last week, I had a client that taught her dog in colors. Red meant sit, green meant down. The consistency matters. So it doesn't matter if you're saying here or come, just whatever behavior you're pairing the command with, you need to be consistent, okay? And then later maybe you're gonna do something else. You're gonna teach the dog to come to you and sit really close to you, or to come sit to you, sit and then down, or something like that. Then you'd wanna teach a different command. But for right now, the word come means, or here, means I just come to you. Okay? Yes? Oh, that's a good question. Well, actually, do you want to see how it's bad? Watch it. Just watch it. Tyler. Tyler. Tyler.
Yes.
Tyler. How confused are you right now? Really? Okay. Thank you. So that you did really good. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, exactly. So that's why the name is bad, because the name we use it too often. We always use our dog's name, right? And two, there's no command established to it. So by just saying the dog's name doesn't really establish what you want the dog to do. However, if you say the dog's name, the dog comes running to you, then it's really easy to say the dog's name and then say come and start kind of bleeding over that. But I really would teach him a command. Okay? Okay, so you take the dog to a busy area and just say the name, and I would be really surprised if he did come to you. But then again, however, if you do want his name to be your come command, that's fine, but you shouldn't use his name for anything else. All right? All right, you guys did really good. Any other questions before I let you guys go? All right, you guys did really good, and I will plan on seeing you next week.